Hey, Ange.
Hey Les, how are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, good. You look good.
Why, thank you. I dressed up. I put on color today because I usually wear like solids, right? But I said, we have a guest. We have somebody special. This lady is so dynamic. I want to be bright and ready for her. So I'm getting ready. So welcome to another episode of Black Boomer Besties from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. We are Leslie and Angela. We have been best friends for 47 years. That's 1977, folks, just so you don't have to do the math. And we are here to share the perspectives of two free thinking Black boomers. We welcome you, and we are going to be welcoming our guest today.
So I'm going to read her bio, and it's so impressive. And I'm just so grateful that she's here and going to talk to you about some amazing things and going to get you to think about some things as well. Dr. Kimani Norrington-Sands, also known as Dr. Kimani, is a licensed clinical psychologist in California. As a Spelman College alumna, Dr. Kimani focuses on supporting individual and collective healing so that clients can live a fulfilled life. Dr. Kimani draws upon her own healing journey as well as professional work to provide a range of services and products, including the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women and the Black Women Healing from Toxic Jobs coaching program for Black women who are interested in developing an exit plan to leave toxic jobs and pivot to more respectful, financially rewarding professional opportunities. I bring to you this lovely lady here, Dr. Kimani Norrington-Sands. Welcome.
Thank you. That was
Yay.
glowing. I loved how you talked
Yes.
about you put the color on for today and the pump up. I love that. That was
She
beautiful.
ready. She ready.
I love that.
Hi.
Wow. Dr.
Give you the
Kimani,
floor,
when?
and I want you to tell us all about you and where you're from and all the good.
Everything. Yeah. Okay. So funny, I was in New York not that long ago, and I went to Brooklyn because I've always wanted to go to Brooklyn. And I was like, I've been in New York. How many times I'm going to get to Brooklyn? So it's so funny that I'm talking with you all.
That's
So
Yeah.
right.
I'm
That's
originally from
right.
Chicago.
Mm.
And I have been living in California for a number of years. As a licensed clinical psychologist, I used to work for the second largest school district in the nation, so right behind New York, and worked there for a number of years. Had a very toxic work experience. At the beginning, it wasn't bad, but it started getting really, really bad, very toxic, to the point it was harming me physically and psychologically. Took a leave of absence, and at that point, I really reevaluated what I wanted to do, and I decided that I needed to leave that toxic job to save myself. And then I transitioned to private practice, seeing therapy clients, but now it's evolved because as I was healing and I was on a leave of absence, I took Stephanie Perry's YouTube challenge. And when I was taking her YouTube challenge class, she asked all of us, well, what do you want to focus on your YouTube channel? And I said, I think I want to talk about Black women in toxic jobs. She said, girl, do that today, right? Do that immediately.
That sounds like the
Okay,
Stephanie we
do
know.
that. Yes. So I started talking on YouTube, and initially it was more so just to get it out my system, right? Because when you go through a trauma like that, you need to get it out your system because it's harmful.
Yeah,
So I was getting it out my system, talking about my perspective, because I also knew their job was trying to silence me and humiliate me. So another layer was, oh, well, you're not going to silence or humiliate me. I'm going to be louder and I'm going to talk on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then Black women from around the world, across age groups, across professions, around the world, have reached out to me and said, oh my God, are you in my head?
You're
I'm having
speaking
a
my
similar
language.
experience. Right. And I haven't had just one toxic job. I've had multiple. So then it became like downloaded to me that this is something you need to be talking about on a larger scale. So then I started talking about it more. And then that's how the Job Liberation Virtual Summit came to be with my co-host, Mercer Price, because we realized how many Black women are stuck in toxic jobs and stay there because of the fears of leaving, the fears about finances, all these other things. So we said, how do we help support Black women leaving by providing Black women speakers who've gone through the experience, who are doing well?
Wow.
How can they teach us? How can they teach other Black women the tools of how to get out? Not just go, no, how to get out and how to do well by replacing your income. So I'm excited about the Job Liberation Virtual Summit, which is May 18th and 19th.
Wow.
Well, thank you. How about that? We're just going to start with that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's bold work especially because you've been through it, right? And even if you've gone through a healing process, it still brings you back into that place. So it takes a lot of chutzpah, as we say in New York. You know, we have Yiddish is also a part of our it's also a part of New York language. You have a lot of chutzpah to be able to put this into something where your pain and suffering can be healing for someone else. And it's really beautiful. And
I can only imagine that listening to some of your clients and the people you interact with can be triggering for you again.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like you're familiar with PTSD when you have to return to some of the same memories from other people, even can go back to you and say, wait a minute, am I really healed from this? And
I'm glad you said that, because I'm still healing. So I resigned about 2 years ago. I'm still healing. I'm still going to be in the healing journey for quite a long time. So yes, when I hear people's stories, when I see things that might remind me, or if I have a memory. So what I do, my form of healing is to talk on YouTube. So I continue to talk on YouTube. So my YouTube channel is Lifting As We Climb Consulting Wellness Services. And every Sunday, I have a different Black woman guest, and we talk about her healing journey from a toxic job, because I want other Black women to see it's not just me, that you can leave a toxic job and do well. And it's a healing journey. And as I've been working on this Job Liberation Virtual Summit, a lot of memories about the job are coming up, like a lot of memories I filed away. So what I do is I just get on YouTube and start talking. It's like I'm talking therapy to myself, but I know I'm helping other Black women in the process.
Yeah, for sure.
And how is the sting then? Do you find that it's a little bit lesser and lesser the more that you've been talking about it?
Absolutely, because part of the sting that I experienced was the humiliation. Right? So the humiliation is no longer there, because I'm openly sharing with you what happened, and I'm releasing the shame because I didn't do anything wrong. So it removes that part, and I'm telling people, and as I'm telling people about what happened, they're responding to me like, oh, that's crazy. So they're reality testing for me. Like, that was crazy. Oh my God, we're so sorry.
Right, that's your validation.
It's not just you.
Exactly. So it's a way of me sharing and being very transparent, which is a lot for me because I'm a very private person, right? So the fact that I'm on YouTube sharing my story very openly is because I know that I need to heal from this. And the healing is just to be open. And I want other Black women to see, not only are you alone, you need to be able to talk about this stuff. Because if you don't talk about it, then you'll stay in the fear and the shame, and you'll just stay and continue to be harmed at a toxic job. Because I want you to know too, Black women, that we have options. Yes. We have options, right? So many of us feel like we got to stay at that job.
We have no options. We're stuck.
No, right? Black women, we're the most educated in the nation. We have options. If you were able to get that job, what makes you think you can't get another job? If that's what you want to do, or create your own business. But we have options, and I want Black women to know that, and to know that sometimes people around us may project their fears onto us and say, no, you can't leave that good job. That's a good job. What are you doing? What are you doing, right?
All those good benefits.
So I got to quote Stephanie Perry, right? So she said, a job is not a good job that's killing you, number one. Number two, if you're accessing your healthcare benefits for that good job, but it's making you sick,
Yeah.
that's not a good job.
How good is it?
Yes,
How
It's
good
not.
is
It's
it?
yes.
killing you.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
then because you're a trained psychologist, you know what some of the pathological, isms are,
Mhm.
the projection and the
Yeah.
humiliation and
But when you're
And
in it, you get caught up.
yeah, and you start to believe the things that are said about you. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
yeah.
It's wicked. It's wicked to me.
It's a mind F. I'm not gonna say the
Hmm.
full thing, but it's a
Hmm.
It's
mind F,
okay.
Well,
We're
right?
it's
Because
allowed
our
here.
show. You could say that.
I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they get in your head.
Yeah.
They play those mind games with you, and on
Yeah.
some level, you start believing it. Now, on one hand, they were trying to make me feel like I was less than. I knew that that wasn't true, right?
Hmm.
I knew what I was bringing to the table. I
Hmm.
knew that, right?
Hmm.
And I think a lot of that's due to my upbringing and also being a Spelman alum. I knew, I
Yeah.
was like, what are you doing, right?
Yeah.
But
I've seen this movie before. Yeah.
I've heard about this. I've seen it, the whole thing. But they also did other things that it triggers something in me. And I think a lot of Black women do this, right? That because of our social programming, that we're strong Black women and people don't run us out of situations and we're not weak and we're not a punk and we're not,
Yes.
right? So then I
Yes.
embraced that. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
yeah, I'm going to fight these
Yeah.
people. I'm going to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
this. And,
Buck up
you
against
know,
this. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm fighting for Black kids and I'm going to just stay here, whatever.
Hmm.
That was the lie. That was the lie I
Yes.
told myself was that
Mhm.
I could fight them and win. No,
Right.
I couldn't win because the whole system was toxic and they were
Yes.
attacking me and conspiring against me. So
Mm.
when do we recognize as Black women, the system is toxic? You're not going to win. You
Yes.
staying there is not going to make them respect you,
Right.
right? Have enough
Yeah.
self-respect
Sticking it
to
out.
save
We all say
yourself.
we're going to stick it out, and then
Hmm.
we
Oh,
come
I
home
hear
and
that way
kick
too
the
much.
dog and don't speak to our
Mm-mm.
kids and our husband.
And I'd rather say with the devil I know than the devil I don't know.
Yes.
No, that's not a way to live.
You're crazy.
Oh my God,
No.
that's
Oh
true.
my gosh.
We say that
It's
as though
funny.
you got to live with a devil.
There are no
Right.
devils, okay? No, none.
And it's so funny, but as soon as you can pick yourself out of that situation, you realize that the fight wasn't even worth it. It wasn't even worth all of that
No.
angst and all of those gear you had to put on every day to be at war in the
Oh, the
workplace.
gear.
Ridiculous.
Yes, the psychological armoring, right? So, like,
Yes.
trying to prepare yourself to even get out the car, right? So, when I
Right,
talk to Black women,
right.
I said it's not just the masking all day at work,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is the alarm going off and you dread getting out of
And you
bed.
dread.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh, you trying to
oh,
pep yourself up to get there.
Yeah.
So the cost. So this is
Yes.
like the job is taking up a lot of your time. And
Yes.
then, I didn't experience this, but some Black women will cry on their way to work, cry in the parking lot, cry leaving work. And then just think about it. Now you're taking the work home with you because now you're talking about the job after you get in the car. When you get home, you're telling your family, your friends,
what happened to
everybody
you,
knows
what
about your
they
job.
said to you, and
They know all the
it's
people
no
with your
longer
job.
a 40-hour week job. It's
It's
now a
not.
50 and 60-hour week job.
Yes. And then your family's being harmed too because they're not getting the best of you. They're getting a shell of you because you are physically and emotionally drained from the masking and the psychological armoring. You are drained. So when you get back home, you're not fully present to your loved ones and they can see. They're bearing witness to the harm that you're experiencing. And so then that can make them feel helpless and hopeless because they can't help you. And I always say this too. For us as mothers, I'm a mother. Think about what are you modeling for your children? So your children are seeing you day in, day out, going to situations where you're disrespected, right? Are we trying to teach them you stay in situations where you're disrespected? Or are we teaching them, no, if they don't respect and value you, you need to get an exit plan and get out,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
It's just like any other form of abuse.
Exactly.
It's like,
It
are
really
you going to
is.
stay in it or are you going to find your way out of it. I want to, like, if you could come on and talk about some practical ways, because then there's health insurance, and then
Yeah.
there's the mortgage, and then
Yeah.
what are some of the ways that you help people to kind of plot out an exit strategy?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I say is that you have to be well first. So the first thing is if you're able to take a leave of absence, please do that. I did that, right?
Yeah.
Because I was able to get some clarity. I was able to start exit planning. As part of your exit plan, you need to look at your numbers. You need to look at how much money do I need? How much is going in? How much is coming out, right?
Yeah.
Because then that will inform your financial plan. How much leeway do you have? And then you need to start thinking about, how am I going to replace my income? Is this going to be another job? Is it going to be a side hustle? Is it going to be me creating my own business? What is that? And you need to start moving towards that, right?
Yeah.
So the Job Liberation Virtual Summit has Black women teaching you, right? Actually, how to get remote work, how to get contract work, how to get freelance work, how to get another job and not another toxic job, how to create your own business, how to create a financial exit plan. So giving Black women the practical skills, the resources of what you need to do to get out and do well financially.
And modeling those things for you, because when it's all in your head and it's just an idea, it's hard to really see yourself in it. When you can see that other people have done it. I mean, I myself as a physician, it was much easier for me to realize that this is something I can do because I had other physicians around me. I saw that other people have done it.
Yes.
If they could do it, I think I can do it too.
Exactly.
But when it's really just a dream and it's nebulous and whatever, so that summit must be everything.
Yeah, it is. We're
Putting
super
people
excited.
in front of you that can,
Who've been
practical
there,
steps.
who can understand and who are helping to support you in the process. So you're not alone, because I think a lot of us who've been in toxic jobs, we feel alone, we feel ashamed, we feel like we don't know who to go to. This is going to be an embedded community. This is a community to support you, to help liberate you, that you're not stuck. So sometimes we need a little nudge, we need support. And if there's people around you who are telling you to stay in an abusive, toxic situation, sometimes we have to limit what information we share with them, right?
Yes,
so boundaries.
absolutely.
Wow.
So Glenn Mazzini, I quote her, and her quote was, check the tree before you pick the fruit.
Oh,
So if the people you're talking to,
I got to write that down.
yeah, if the people you're talking to are miserable in their lives, they've never had a healthy work environment, but they're telling you to stay in a toxic job where you're being harmed, no, check the tree before you pick the fruit. So we have to keep that in mind. And sometimes we have to build our own communities. So the
Yes.
Job Liberation Virtual Summit is that community.
that's beautiful. I really, because sometimes, the desire is there to want better for yourself,
Yeah.
but you can't see the practicalities
Right.
of it. You know what I mean? And so it becomes just this noise. It just becomes something else that is burdensome, because it's like, I know I should leave, but I don't know how. And you keep telling me to leave, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
what it sounds like the summit is going to be is just this almost immersive space where you can get all of your needs met. And what I love about the types of summit, like what you described, is that you find your people. You find your, there's going to be somebody that you connect with, or some 3 or 5 people that you connect with. And after the summit is over, those networks remain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I saw? I saw that. Were you at ROI?
Yes.
So was I.
Yes.
So was I. So you see, this is what happens. You go into spaces where like-minded people exist, people who desire the same things that you want for your life, and those people who are already there.
Yeah.
And you create these networks that you never can imagine how powerful they become.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How powerful they become.
Yeah. The
Exactly.
bond
That
and
you're
the
doing
sisterhood.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you're
Yeah.
doing it.
But I also like that you mentioned that check the tree before you pick the fruit,
Right. I
because
quote her all the time.
you recognize that there are people in your lives. And if you look around and they're not wanting the best for you, or they're
Mm,
telling you that, oh, it can't be that bad, hang in there a little
mm,
longer.
Mm,
You know, when
mm.
you're in spaces that are sucking your spirit and your soul,
Oh,
and they're telling you, it can't be that bad, the
right.
yes, it must
relationship
be
is
you.
not that bad,
Yeah,
hang in there. And
yeah.
Mm. Yeah. I did a
yeah,
video
makes
recently
you
where I
crazy, think
asked,
you're crazy.
right, because first of all, this is only your life. You're living your life, right? Nobody else. And I did a video about why is it, because I saw a post on LinkedIn, why is it courageous to leave an abusive relationship, but it's
Mhm.
not courageous to leave an abusive job? Because there's so many parallels between an abusive
Yeah,
job and abusive
Absolutely,
relationship.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
why
yeah.
is it okay to stay
Yeah,
at a job that's
right.
sucking the soul out of you?
Yeah, yeah. Because you may get money from that job, but there are benefits that you probably get from an abusive relationship too, whatever that may
Sure,
be. But
sure.
it's not enough for you to
No,
sacrifice
no.
your whole sense of
Your
self
sanity,
and
your health.
yeah, yeah. So okay, so I was watching. You were a guest, and I think the podcast is Our Black Utopia or Black Utopia.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
This couple and what's her name? Helene?
Halisi.
Halisi, yes. She mentioned when the toxicity comes from people who look like you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to bring that up because,
Hmm.
we talk about safe places, like having
Hmm.
safe places and safe haven with people. And when you can't find that with your own group of people, with Black people, when Black people can't find that, how have you heard any of those things come up as you've spoken to people
Oh,
and how they the way
all the
they
time.
navigate that?
Mm-hmm.
All the time. I have a whole playlist on my YouTube channel about all skin folk and kinfolk. So
Wow.
it comes up so often because it's so painful when the other person causing you harm in the workplace is another Black person,
Yeah.
particularly another Black woman. Right. And
Yes,
so
yes, yes,
I talk
yes.
about it so often because I want Black women to know,
Hmm.
even though these may have been your experiences,
Yes.
please don't generalize to all Black women.
Right,
All
right.
Black women are not like that. You may have run into some people who are not well, or
Yeah,
they're insecure, or
yeah.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to find your community. You have to find
Yes.
other Black people, other Black women who are there to support you because we're out here.
Yeah,
But sometimes
for
when we're
sure.
hurt, we
Yeah.
say, I say, I can't mess with other Black, I can't do that. And
Mm.
that's not helpful for us
Yeah.
either.
Not at all. Not
And
at
I
all.
find that we need to follow our instincts also. When things don't feel right, or when you
Right.
start thinking, oh, she's really my frenemy, not really. It's like,
Oh,
that's middle school
yes.
toxicity.
Yes.
You don't need to be around somebody that's sometimes a
No.
friend, sometimes an enemy. You're not that
Yeah.
sure. Because you know what? We don't have a whole lot of time in our lives to evaluate these things.
True. True.
You know,
True.
if it
Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't feel right, mm,
We get beat down enough as Black women. We don't need people in
Yes.
our personal lives who are beating us down too
For
with a
yeah,
sure.
smile. We
For
don't need
sure.
that.
Yes. Yes. I just the idea of it. And I thank God that where I am now in my life,
mhm.
there's no toxicity. I am so
Wow,
grateful for
What a
that. And
blessing.
I also recognize
that
that
is a
this wasn't always
blessing.
the case.
Yes.
This
Yes.
Yes.
wasn't always the case. We're all on a journey, people. We're
Yes.
all on a
Hmm.
journey. Wherever you are now, it doesn't mean that you stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why Leslie and I started this podcast
I was
is
thinking
to
of
be
that.
able to expose people to options, expose people to different ways of
Living a
just
different
broadening
way.
perspectives on what's possible for you, for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm hearing Dr. Kimani talk about is there is help, there is
Yeah.
community, there are specific resources. There's no need for you to feel stuck. Just
Yeah.
take one action
Mhm.
get to the summit, just
Mhm.
take that that one action.
Yeah.
We're going to have a link. We're going to have links all
Well,
over
of course.
on the podcast thing on YouTube. We're going to have links, but it's really that is your next step.
Mhm.
That is your next step
And
to,
eh,
you
to
know what I
add
mean?
more to that, right? So, in
Yeah.
terms of thinking about how we are working collectively to liberate not only ourselves, but
Hmm.
other Black women, there's also an option to sponsor a Black woman to come to the summit.
Ah,
So,
Mm,
that's
you can put
beautiful.
my
right.
email. Yeah, you can put my email information in the description
Okay.
section, and
Hmm.
people can email me if they want to sponsor a Black woman to come. And wanted to let everyone know that because as Black women, we need to walk in silence sometimes because people are not wishing the best for us.
Yeah.
That all the participants will not have their names listed, right?
Wow.
They will
Hmm.
not be seen on camera. Only the summit speakers, because some people are concerned that
Yes.
people might
Oh,
try to
that's
find out that they're
true.
trying to leave a job and
Yeah,
then they don't want to
yeah.
Right.
come, right? So
Yes.
we are very
Creating a
mindful of
safe
that.
space for people in this arena. Hmm.
Exactly. And if
Wouldn't
they
have
have
even
questions
thought
or
of that.
comments, they can
Yeah.
change their name in a platform.
Right.
Whoa.
I mean, that's what happens when your experience turns into this a vehicle for healing.
Mhm.
Mm.
Is, you know, oh, this may be of concern. So let's just kind of set that up right up front. Because sometimes
Yes.
people don't express what their needs are. You know,
Yes.
they won't
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
because, oh, it's not done like that. Who does that? Everybody has their name. Everyone wants their camera on.
Mm.
So that kind of pre-planning, we know that this is a concern for you.
Hmm.
And, you know, I keep going back to kind of the whole abuse thing. It's like, yeah, you need
Yeah.
a safe place where people, you know, are not out to get you, or you
Yeah.
don't have the
Or
perception that people
expose
are out to
you
get you.
or yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's
Yes.
required. It's a
Mm-hmm.
necessity. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I love it.
You
I love it.
know,
I love it. I love it.
what this brings up for me, I like the idea, and Ange and I have been talking about this a while, of seeing a different way to the future that bucks up tradition. I mean, because if you
Mm.
think about it, traditional work has been it's work. You're not supposed to love your work. You're
Hmm.
supposed to just endure your work. You're supposed, and then you retire, and that's when you
Mm.
hit nirvana and
Yes.
things are
Mm.
supposed to be good. You're supposed to
Mm.
trudge through, you know.
Mm.
And now we think about, wait a minute, we don't have to be demoralized
No.
and come
Mm.
home and become ill and
Yes.
emotionally
Mm.
ill from our work
Yeah.
where we spend so much of our lives.
Yeah.
Our lives can really be fulfilling and it
Yeah.
can nurture and empower us rather than suck us dry like that.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
I gotta say that I found that kind of work when I left a career in teaching and went into
Mhm.
medicine. And that's
Mm.
when I started knowing, like, yeah, this is what I'm here for. I found my space. And you know what?
Yes.
That's not unusual. You can find your space in your employment.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
But you were courageous enough to pivot, right?
Yes.
Some people feel like
It
once
was
they get that
scary,
job,
yeah.
they need to just stay there. But
Hmm.
what you're saying is that wasn't working for me.
It
So
wasn't
I knew
working
I
for
needed
me.
to
And I wasn't
pivot.
serving the students. Students
Yeah.
need teachers who are, all in. I wasn't.
Hmm. Yeah. But also letting Black women know that you have options, you can pivot.
Right.
And what Stephanie Perry says all the time, we've been fed the lie that we have to work, 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 work. And hopefully, once we get a retirement, we can live our life. But what if you don't
Yeah.
make it to
What if
retirement?
you don't make it?
What
What
if
if
what if the
you're
stress
limping
is
into
killing you?
retirement?
Imagine
Right, the
that.
quality of your life, right? And I think that we
Yeah.
have seen so many wake up calls with Black women dying prematurely. We've seen Black women, Dr. Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey dying in relation to workplace bullying. Like we've seen these things happen.
Right,
And I think
right.
a lot of us are like, wait a minute, this is not the life that I want for myself.
Yeah, yeah. That could
Wow.
be me. The time is now. I'm
Yes.
One
I'm
thing that came
62
to
years
mind
old
too
now.
is
I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I need to start,
the time
yeah.
is now. The time is
Yes.
now.
Yes.
And something that just it popped in my head about 10 minutes ago, but then it popped out. So now it
But it's
just came
back.
back. The fact that the skills and experience that you're using at the job, they're you when you walk away, they go with you.
Exactly.
They go
Yes.
with you. You can take it
Exactly.
elsewhere. It's not, there's
You
nothing,
got a
you're not
pocket
like,
full of skills
you
and
have a
experience.
pocket full of skills.
Yes.
You have a pocket full of skills. So this idea that you can only shine or you can only, they're not even shining, is that this is kind of a survival thing. Like you're just scrounging.
Yeah.
You have these beautiful set of skills. Look at what you did with your experience. You're now creating this new thing. Like that's another thing that Black women know how to do.
We are resourceful, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amen to that. We
Making
are
it happen.
resourceful.
Yes. Yes.
And look how
And
many more people you are reaching, Dr. Kimani. It's like you have
right.
tentacles now. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah.
But it's kind of like when I was in this situation, the lie that I was telling myself was I have to stay here for the Black students, right? I had a Black woman therapist, still do. And I was telling her about what's happening, and she was reality testing with me. And she told me flat out, you have to leave. This job is going to kill you. And I was like, but I got to stay. I got to stay. And she said, you don't see it now, but I see you on a much higher platform helping people. You don't have to stay. God is elevating you. She said, this is a rescue mission from God to get you out of this job.
A rescue mission. I'm
A rescue mission from God, right? And through my own experiences and going through what I've gone through, I've been able to give a name to the experiences that I'm having and to tell Black women about it, like Pets a Threat. I've been telling Black women about Pets a Threat. So Pets a Threat, 3 Black women researchers, and I got to say their names because people steal their work.
Go ahead.
So Dr. Juanita Johnson-Bailey, Dr. Keisha Thomas, Dr. Rosemary Phelps. Pets a Threat, this is what I experienced. This is exactly what I experienced at the job.
What is Pets a Threat? Explain that.
Yes. So Pets a Threat deals with when a Black woman comes into the workplace or she's thought out in the workplace because of her outstanding work abilities. She's really good at something, right? Oh, Leslie, she's so smart. We love her. Oh, right. You're the pet, right? Yes. Then you start outshining other people within the workplace. And there's a shift in terms of how you're seen and treated as a threat. And then they start to push you, all those things. That is exactly what happened to me.
Wow.
So being able to talk about it, and I have been able to interview 2 of the researchers for Pets a Threat on my channel. So being able to connect to Black women who are doing the work, have them on my channel, give a word to it, because so many Black women are like, oh my God, that's what I've experienced. But I didn't know what it was called. It is a thing. It is a thing. And many of us have experienced that.
And it means we're not crazy. You think I must be imagining this. It's like it can't be. This can't be what they're thinking. It's not doing this to me.
I'm a good employee. I'm contributing all these things. Because you're dealing with very insecure people. So when you deal with insecure people, they don't care about what you bring to the table because they are triggered by that because it makes them feel more insecure. So then they start trying to project their own incompetence, their own insecurities on you. And they try to take you down at all costs. It's not about the organization.
In order for them to be elevated.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, this is deep.
This is wonderful. How long did it take you to pull the summit together? This is a lot of heavy lifting.
It is. So my co-host and I have been working on this. I don't even think it's been 6 months. I don't think it's been 6 months. It was like, just downloaded, and we were like on fire because she's also a toxic job survivor and a social worker, Black woman. And so we just pulled our minds together and we said, what are the issues impacting Black women the most? So that's when we did. We started reaching out to Black women. Every Black woman we reached out to said yes. So we're kicking it off with Stephanie Perry, talking about job detox, right? So getting our minds together. And all the Black women, right? All the Black women are like, yes, we want to be here to support you.
Awesome.
And what's so powerful, because we're going to end the second day with a financial psychologist, a Black woman, And she was who I work with to get my money together so that I could resign. So she's going to end it
Wow.
off with getting your financial exit plan, right? So there's different tiers that people can buy tickets. So everybody has access to that, right? But if
Right.
you really want to get your financial plan together, the highest tier is to have that additional hour the next day to really get your financial plan together with the financial psychologist. So it's been
Wow.
Wow.
very intentional
Yeah,
about
yeah.
who we're having. So
Right.
if I could just run down, I'm so excited about
Sure,
it.
please,
Please.
Okay.
please.
Okay, so we're starting with Stephanie. So again, job detox. So when we think about being in a toxic job, the biggest thing we got to get through is that mindset, right? So the fears of leaving. And then after that, we're
Yeah.
going to have Kira talking about burnout. What does that look like? What are the signs of it? Because a lot of times you don't
Mhm.
know until you're deep in it. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, what's happening to me? Then we're going to have Kamisha Jones talking about mental health, the impact that being in a toxic job can impact your mental health. And then we're going to have Dr. Robin Scott talking about sleep, how these toxic jobs can rob our, thinking
Oh,
about the
and we know
job,
how important
whatever.
sleep is.
Oh, God. And so she's going to talk to us about sleep skills, how to regain our sleep. And then we're going to end off that first day with Alicia Renese talking about how to reclaim our joy, our dreams, all those things from a toxic job. That's day one.
Yes.
Then day two, we start off with Amory Archer, the anti-HR lady, talking about discrimination, issues of discrimination, severance, right? If you want to do that. And then we have Libria Jones talking about how to find remote work, contract work, freelance work. Patrice is going to talk
Wow.
about side hustles, creating a side hustle. And then my co-host and I are going to be talking about how to create your own business. And then ending off with Dr. Roche Brown, who's the financial psychologist, about getting your financial plan together and what to do about your health insurance, your
Right.
retirement, and your life insurance. So everything is covered, all in a package, right? So as you come in, you might feel defeated or confused or not what to do or stuck. By the time you leave, you will have an exit plan together.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you'll be a part of a sisterhood where you can continue to be in community with people,
Yes.
like-minded people, and people who can help you.
Yes. Yes.
And
So we're super
as long
excited.
as when you're in the action of planning an exit, the stress starts to lift
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
actually taking, it's not just when you walk out the door, it's knowing that you have agency and
Yes.
you can take your power and you can
Yes.
plan. Things don't land as things don't stick
The
as much as
sting
they used
isn't
to.
as,
Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like,
you can't
okay,
hurt me anymore. I know.
just give me a little bit. I'll be,
I'm
I'll be
taking
all
my
right.
power back.
You can say whatever
yes,
you want.
yeah,
You sit at
yeah.
your desk with this smile on your face, looking at your calendar.
Like a cat who ate the
Exactly.
canary.
And that's what I want women to know about the summit is that the summit provides an opportunity for you to start planning, right?
Yes.
Not that we expect you to come in and we're saying you come to the summit, that means you got to go tomorrow.
Right.
No, it's based on your
Right.
timeline about when you
Yes.
want to go. But it's
Right.
better to be prepared
Yeah.
so you're not
Yeah.
doing something like in a haste or not irrational. You end up in another toxic job. We don't want that for you. So how do you come in and really get that information and then to implement the information?
Wow. Brava.
So we're
Brava,
going to
brava.
leave a link on how to access your materials and more information about the summit. I'm telling the public now, you all don't have a lot of time. You have just a couple of days before, between this airing and the summit when it starts. So you're going to have to act quick. But I know
Yes.
you can do that because I know that we're speaking to some of the people. People know what they need. You know,
And
it's
remember,
like,
you can sponsor. So if you know
Yeah,
someone who needs a kick in the pants, sponsor
and
them.
need some help with this.
What a beautiful gift that would be. What a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful gift. Really, really. All right, Les, how we
All
looking?
right. We're looking good. And I
He's our
think we've
timekeeper.
used our time almost wisely. We've done a little over. But I knew that there's so much rich information that people, you forgive us.
Yeah, of course. I love talking about this. You see, I light up,
You
right?
do. You
Because
certainly do.
Yeah.
it just, of course, I wish that this never would have happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
a very like structured person. I would have stayed at a job, even though I was not challenged. I was, not growing. I would have stayed, right?
Hmm.
But it got so intolerable. It was
Mm-hmm.
no way for me to stay.
But
And
I
Wow.
so it's
almost think it
liberating.
had to get that
I
intolerable
think
for you to see
so.
it. You know, as a believer, I know the Lord puts challenges and puts us in environments that if you don't hear the whisper, then you hear the shout. If you
Yes.
don't hear the shout, then you have to get the hit over the head. Really, I believe that,
Yeah.
you
And I
know.
got the
Yeah.
hit on the head.
You got the
Okay.
hit
Hmm.
on the head.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And others may hear the whisper, but some of us need a little bit more. And
Yeah.
now,
Mm-hmm.
look,
Yeah.
it's like I told you, Dr.
Exactly.
Kimani, it was a pleasure. I need to do this because this is, we
Oh,
get the,
Is it gonna
I
work?
don't know if we'll
Usually
get the
that
heart,
it
but I
usually
thank
creates
you.
hearts.
I thank you. And I'll say this has been another episode of Black Boomer Besties from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.